Stay with this story until the end, because what seems like a simple interaction between two members of BTS might actually reveal something far more complex, something that has been quietly building behind the scenes. And if you feel even a hint of curiosity or shock while reading, don't forget to share your thoughts. What do you think Taehyung was really feeling in that moment? And what exactly did Jungkook say that changed everything? The moment began quietly, almost too quietly to raise suspicion. Jungkook's voice, calm yet weighted with an emotion that fans have learned to recognize, carried a tone that felt different from his usual demeanor. It wasn't just what he said, but how he said it, measured, reflective, and perhaps even burdened. For many, it sounded like honesty, but for Taehyung, it seemed to sound like something else entirely. As Jungkook continued speaking, the atmosphere shifted in a way that could not be ignored. Cameras may not capture everything, but expressions rarely lie. Taehyung, known for his composed yet deeply expressive nature, appeared to process every word with unusual intensity. His gaze, once relaxed, sharpened. His posture, once open, grew still. And then came that moment, the subtle yet undeniable change that sent waves through the fandom. Was it realization? Was it shock? Or was it confirmation of something he had already suspected? There are moments in the lives of public figures that pass by unnoticed, and then there are moments like this, moments that feel like fragments of a much larger story, pieces of a puzzle that fans desperately try to put together. Taehyung's reaction was not loud or dramatic, but it was powerful in its silence. It was the kind of reaction that raises more questions than answers, the kind that lingers long after the moment itself has passed. Jungkook's words, though not outwardly controversial, carried an undercurrent that many are now revisiting with fresh perspective. Was there a hidden message? A subtle confession? Or perhaps an emotional truth that was never meant to be fully understood by the public? Whatever it was, it clearly resonated with Taehyung in a way that went beyond the surface. For years, the bond between Taehyung and Jungkook has been one of the most talked about dynamics within BTS. Their interactions, often playful and lighthearted, have also shown moments of deep connection and unspoken understanding. But this moment felt different. This was not just another interaction. This felt like a turning point. As fans began to analyze every second of the exchange, theories quickly emerged. Some believe that Jungkook's words may have touched on something personal, something that only Taehyung could fully comprehend. Others suggest that the reaction was a reflection of accumulated emotions, feelings that had been building over time, finally brought to the surface by a single, carefully spoken sentence. But what if the truth is even more complicated than that? There is a possibility that what we witnessed was not just a reaction to what was said, but to what was left unsaid. Silence, after all, can be just as powerful as words. And in that silence, Taehyung seemed to be listening, not just to Jungkook, but to something deeper, something internal. The tension in that moment did not explode. It settled. It lingered in the air, creating a quiet intensity that was almost impossible to ignore. And for those who have followed BTS closely, it felt like a rare glimpse into a side of their relationship that is rarely shown. Emotions within a group as close-knit as BTS are never simple. Years of shared experiences, challenges, and triumphs create bonds that are both strong and complex. When something shifts within that dynamic, even slightly, it can carry significant meaning. Taehyung's reaction, though subtle, felt like one of those shifts. And yet, despite all the speculation, one question remains unanswered. What exactly did Jungkook say that caused such a response? Some fans have revisited the moment repeatedly, slowing it down, analyzing facial expressions, tone, and timing. They point to the way Taehyung's eyes seemed to flicker with something unspoken, the way his lips pressed together as if holding back a response. These are not random details, they are clues. Clues that suggest there is more to this story than meets the eye. Could it be that Taehyung understood something in Jungkook's words that others did not? Could there be a shared context, an inside perspective that only they possess? If so, it would explain the depth of his reaction, the way it seemed to come from a place far beyond the moment itself. What makes this situation even more intriguing is the lack of clarification. Neither Taehyung nor Jungkook has addressed the moment directly, leaving fans to interpret it on their own. This silence only adds to the mystery, fueling discussions and debates across the fandom. And perhaps that is what makes this story so compelling, the uncertainty. In a world where so much is shared and explained, moments like this remind us that not everything is meant to be fully understood. Some things remain hidden, not out of intention but out of necessity. Emotions, especially those as complex as the ones that seem to exist between Taehyung and Jungkook, cannot always be put into words. As the conversation continues to grow, one thing is certain: this moment has left an impact. It has sparked curiosity, concern, and a deeper appreciation for the emotional layers that exist within BTS. It has also reminded fans that behind the performances and public appearances are individuals navigating their own thoughts and feelings. So what do you think really happened in that moment? Was Taehyung's reaction a sign of something hidden? Something finally revealed through Jungkook's words? Or was it simply a fleeting expression, misunderstood and magnified by those watching from the outside? The truth may not be immediately clear, but one thing is undeniable: something changed in that moment, and those who witnessed it are still trying to understand why. As you reflect on this, consider the possibility that the most important part of the story is not what we saw, but what we didn't see. Because sometimes the most powerful truths are the ones that remain just out of reach, waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, Taehyung already knows everything. And if Taehyung truly understood everything in that moment, then the silence that followed was not empty at all. It was filled with meaning, with restraint, with something that perhaps could not be expressed in front of millions watching. The question that continues to echo among those who noticed the shift is not just what happened, but why did it feel so real? Because this wasn't acting. This wasn't performance. This was something raw, something unfiltered that slipped through the carefully maintained image of global superstars. As Jungkook finished speaking, there was a brief pause, barely noticeable to some, but unmistakable to others. It was in that pause that everything seemed to change. Taehyung didn't immediately respond. He didn't smile the way he often does to ease tension. Instead, he held that expression, serious, contemplative, almost conflicted. Fans who have followed BTS for years know that Taehyung is not someone who hides emotion easily. His reactions, whether joyful or somber, often come naturally and honestly. So when he chooses not to react in a typical way, it becomes even more telling. It becomes a signal that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. And that's where the mystery intensifies. Because if Jungkook's words were simply casual or expected, Taehyung would have responded just as casually. But he didn't. His stillness spoke louder than any words could. It suggested that what he heard carried weight, personal weight. There's a growing belief among observers that Jungkook may have been expressing something he had been holding back for a long time. Not necessarily a secret in the dramatic sense, but perhaps a truth that had never been spoken so openly before. And sometimes hearing a truth out loud, even one you already know, can hit differently. It can confirm things you weren't ready to confront. It can force you to face emotions you've kept carefully managed. Can change the way you see someone, even if only slightly. And in Taehyung's case, that change, however small, was visible. Some interpretations suggest that Taehyung's reaction was not just about surprise, but about understanding. A kind of understanding that comes from shared history, from knowing someone beyond what is shown publicly. If that's true, then what we witnessed was not confusion, but recognition. Recognition of something real. Recognition of something that perhaps had been left unsaid until now. And yet, there's another layer to consider. What if Taehyung's reaction wasn't only about Jungkook, but also about himself? Sometimes, when someone speaks honestly, it doesn't just reveal their own feelings. It reflects back onto others, forcing them to examine their own thoughts, their own emotions. Could it be that Jungkook's words acted like a mirror? Could it be that Taehyung saw something in that moment that made him pause, not because he didn't understand, but because he understood too well? This possibility adds a new dimension to the story. It transforms the moment from a simple exchange into something much more complex. A moment of mutual awareness, where both individuals are connected by something deeper than what is visible. What makes this even more compelling is how quickly the moment passed. There was no confrontation, no dramatic follow-up. The conversation moved on as it often does. But the feeling remained, and that's what people can't ignore. Moments like these don't need to be loud to be significant. In fact, their quiet nature often makes them more powerful. They leave room for interpretation, for speculation, for emotional connection. They invite people to look closer, to think deeper, to feel more. For the audience, it becomes almost impossible not to wonder. If that brief moment carried so much weight, what else is happening behind the scenes that we don't see? Because for every second that is broadcast, there are countless others that remain private. And perhaps that's where the real story lies. The dynamic between Taehyung and Jungkook has always been layered. There is friendship, there is respect, there is history, and within all of that, there are emotions that may not always be easy to define. This moment did not create those layers. It simply revealed them, even if only for a split second. And now, that single second is being replayed over and over, not because of what was said, but because of what was felt. But here's the truth that often gets overlooked. Sometimes, there is no dramatic secret waiting to be uncovered. Sometimes what we see is exactly what it is. A moment of genuine emotion between two people who share a deep and complex connection. And yet, even that explanation doesn't fully satisfy the curiosity surrounding this moment. Because if it were that simple, it wouldn't feel this significant. It wouldn't linger in the minds of those who watched it. It wouldn't spark this many questions. So where does that leave us? Somewhere between certainty and mystery. Somewhere between what is known and what is imagined. And perhaps that's exactly where this story is meant to stay. Because not every story needs a clear ending. Not every question needs a definitive answer. Sometimes the power of a moment lies in its ambiguity, in the way it makes people feel, in the way it invites them to interpret, to connect, to wonder. And in this case, the wonder remains. Did Taehyung uncover something hidden in Jungkook's words? Did Jungkook intentionally reveal more than he meant to? Or was this simply a rare glimpse into the emotional reality of two individuals who, despite living in the spotlight, still experience moments that are deeply human and profoundly personal? The answer may never be fully known, but the impact of that moment is undeniable. And as long as people continue to watch, to question, and to feel, the story will continue, not through new revelations, but through the endless interpretations of those who refuse to look away. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are not the ones that are clearly told, but the ones that leave just enough hidden to keep everyone searching. And the more people revisit that moment, the more it begins to feel less like an isolated reaction and more like a fragment of something ongoing. Something that didn't begin there and certainly didn't end there. Because if you look closely, really closely, the shift in Kim Taehyung wasn't just about surprise. It carried a sense of restraint, almost as if he was choosing carefully what not to show. That alone raises another question: what was he holding back? When Jungkook spoke, there was no visible tension in his delivery. He appeared calm, composed, even slightly vulnerable in a way that fans rarely get to see in such clarity. But sometimes vulnerability doesn't just come from what is revealed, it comes from what is risked by saying it out loud. And if Jungkook truly crossed that invisible line between private feeling and public expression, then Taehyung's reaction starts to make even more sense. Because hearing something personal in a public space can create a conflict that's impossible to resolve in real time. Do you respond honestly and risk exposing more? Or do you stay quiet and protect what still remains unspoken?